Thank you so much for tuning in into this edition of TOI Dialogues. We're getting you all the highlights from the results of the three northeastern states. And let's start with some good news. Nagaland can finally say it has voted for women MLAs. Isn't that so, Jan?
Yeah, it's after 60 years, Nagaland has got its two first women MLAs. Both are from ruling party NDPP. One is Hekalu Jakani. He has won from Dimapur 3 constituency. It's a very important constituency. And the candidate itself, she is known for, her background is basically she is social entrepreneur and lawyer, and she's a known face in Nagaland. She has worked and she has connect with the youth. She runs an organization called Youth Net or something like that. But she has connect with the youth. It's a new face, so I think people want a change, and this absence of women legislators in Nagaland Assembly has been quite a issue. It's been discussed over and over again, and this time, hopefully, like many people said when we reach out to certain people before elections, they were confident that this time there will be a change, and then the results reflected that, and it's quite a positive trend because in Nagaland, what happened, like being a tribal state, it's been gender inclusive, no doubt, but somehow there was some kind of hesitation or hindrance. There are other issues also at play, but yeah, the trend has been set. uh, from now onwards, I believe more women will come forward to join politics. This is really a positive development.
Right. And staying with Nagaland, if you could take us through the BJP and its alliance partner, the NDPP, the chief minister has also already won his seat.
Yeah.
How important was this win for them? Because, already exit polls were saying that they are going to get a clear majority, and that seems to be pretty much how things are working out for them. So, how would you look at this alliance in the context of what has happened in Nagaland over the last many years, in particular with this alliance?
Right. We know that Nagaland has been, the government in Nagaland has been oppositionless. There has been no opposition, and so this is a very positive factor. I think that this plays a positive role in what we are seeing the trend this time on also, that there has not been much of a kind of resistance, opposition resistance, and it was almost a kind of foregone conclusion that these two parties, NDPP and BJP, would retain power. So the trends, early trends or whatever we are seeing right now, showing going to that direction only. But we have to wait till the final results are out, counting of polls. But nevertheless, this alliance is going. It showed that BJP has at least tried to do, if not solve a lot of problems, but at least it has tried to made an attempt to finding some solution in Nagaland. For example, obviously we know that Naga peace process is going through some rough patches, rough phases, but at least both sides are continuously engaged and trying to overcome the hurdles. uh, this is too early to say in which direction we'll go. Finally the conclusion will happen, there will be a uh, you know uh, permanent solution will not be, reachable, will be reached this year or not. But what we can see, at least BJP is making some efforts that to find a solution to this insurgency problem, because Nagaland is the home of the India's largest but oldest insurgent group. So this is one issue. Then another issue is the Eastern Nagaland issue, where ENPO, Eastern Nagaland People Organization, which has been demanding a separate state for over more than a decade. Recently, we know that there's some confusion, and ENPO call for boycott of elections, and it really put BJP in a very, in a spot, in a very fixed, sticky situation. So what BJP did, they tried to find out a solution again, and what we got to know that they have promised at least a separate council, autonomous council, and they have also promised greater autonomy so that funds can be routed, development funds can be given to that council. And because the eastern Nagaland has traditionally been a very neglected area, they want development, and as of now this is what they have reached the agreement. This is also a very positive, I think. So all these factors have played a role
Mm.
and giving some people some hope that this government is going to do something, because whatever the Congress has been doing, see, Naga peace process has been going on for a long time. It's been decades. It started during Congress time. So, but the thing is that things were moving at a slow pace. But since 2015, once that uh, framework agreement was signed with the center, things were like taking some was getting some momentum.
Right.
And although there is a lot of hurdles in the sense ki, it's a tough negotiation, because now those you know stakeholders, specifically the Naga political groups, which we call, including the rebels, they have been involved in this issue for a long time, and it's a long drawn process. So it will definitely take more time. But nevertheless, BJP is hopeful that some solution will be can be reached out, if it is possible to reach out before 2024,
Right.
because they want to get some kind of political mileage out of it. And if they can do it, this will be like historic.
Right.
This will be historic, because if they can solve Naga problem, this will be like India's oldest insurgency will come to an end, and that will be really a milestone for BJP's own political record, and BJP's own footprint will definitely get increased in the region.
Absolutely. And when you're talking about the regional players,
Yeah,
um, in all these three states,
yeah,
we've seen how regional players
right.
have played a role. You've talked about Nagaland in detail.
Hmm,
If you could also talk to us about the interesting rise
hmm.
in Tripura.
Yeah, Tripura is very interesting because of the entrance of the new entry of the new player, Tipra Motha, led by erstwhile Royal Scion, Pradyot Debbarma. Now the thing is that Pradyot has been a politician for some time. Like he's not new in the field of politics. He was state Congress president before starting his new party. And the interesting thing is that Tripura, this tribal politics, this trend has been there for a long time, because Tripura, as we know, where the tribals are in a minority, 30% only tribals, and rest of them are Bengali. This migration problem, Tripura is the worst victim of the migration from eastern Bangladesh. East Bengal, now Bangladesh, and because of this, uncontrolled influx, the indigenous population was reduced to a minority, and this led to a lot of conflicts between tribal and non-tribal. There was a phase when Tripura witnessed, bouts of insurgency, separatist insurgency, and a lot of bloodshed happened between tribal and non-tribal. Although Left Front, which ruled Tripura for nearly over 2 decades, 25 years before BJP came to the power in 2018, Left Front played an interesting role. I don't know, they played a very positive role to bring this insurgency to an end. They had, tried their level best to bring peace, because hadn't been Manik Sarkar government been engaged in talks and negotiation, today Tripura would have been different. So left should get the credit for that. So, but after that, what happened? Because of left governments, lot of issues, like there were unemployment problem. There were also some problem of corruption. So all these factor, I think people were also fed up after certain time, that you are seeing the same government for ruling you, being ruled by you, same government in the power for nearly 2 decades. So they wanted some kind of change. That's why uh, BJP came into the picture at the cost of Congress, obviously. So
Right.
a lot of several leaders switched sides and joined BJP. That's how BJP was there. But then this emergence of Tipra Motha became a challenge for them. Tipra Motha, mind you, it just came into the scene 2 years back, and it was so new. In the sense, the first taste of victory for Tipra Motha came when in 2021, I guess,
Yes.
they
The
won the
autonomous
tribal
council.
autonomous council
Yes.
elections. That was a turning point, and autonomous council election is a huge thing because they have uh, jurisdiction over all the tribal seats, which is 20 seats out of 60 assembly constituency. So that's how they started their expansion gradually. And during pandemic, what happened? Pradyot and his team worked very they have worked very hard to help people in a different way. Whosoever were stuck somewhere else, they try to bring those people, like like the similar thing happened across India. But they played a very positive role in the sense ki, uh, projecting themselves as a social someone who are rooted to the social cause rather than
Right.
political thing. So it helped to connect with the people, uh, because people started seeing them someone you can trust them at a time of distress, when people are suffering. So he was always there, he was always at the forefront. And that's how he started trying to build his base in Tripura. And also he has a lot of experience, because since he comes from a political family, his mother was there and father was there, so he know all these things. But I think this post pandemic scenario, after he snapped ties with the Congress, he started building his own team, then which eventually become a political party, Tipra Motha. And I think Tipra Motha is going to stay for that, because it's too early to say. Because even if they win 2, 10, 15, whatever seats,
Hmm.
this is a big thing.
Yes.
2 year party winning 10, 15 seats out of 60, it's a big thing.
Right, and they contested
Yeah, yeah,
42 out of 60
yeah.
seats.
And Tripura Motha's emerges at the cost of IPFT, which is
Right.
BJP's tribal ally. So we can see on one hand IPFT is losing ground, and on the other Tripura Motha is gaining ground.
Right.
So these are the two things. But at the end, ultimately, it's the regional party which is still have relevance. Both if we see in all three states.
Right. And actually,
Nagaland,
that brings me to the
yeah,
next state
next,
also, because in Meghalaya,
yeah,
National People's Party, that's Chief Minister Conrad Sangma's party, they were together in an alliance with the BJP before the elections, but they decided to go their separate ways, contested separately. But even as the exit polls started saying that it's possible that Conrad Sangma's party could emerge as the single largest party, could be a little short of the halfway mark. That's when we already heard Conrad Sangma say that, well, whatever is in the interest of a stable government, I'm willing to go ahead and do it, which is why they're also an interesting player.
yeah,
And also, what's interesting is that they're the only party from the Northeast which is actually a
national
national
party.
party.
Yeah, right, right. So NPP, it has the legacy of Puno Sangma, Conrad's father. He has been, he was a Lok Sabha speaker. He fought for presidency, but he lost to Pranab Mukherjee. That's a separate matter. But the thing is that, yeah, Conrad is also a young face, and he has connect with the youth, and he has a lot of potential, in the sense ki, what we saw in the past 5 years, he has worked. He has put in effort, and which is visible, and despite corruption charges level by BJP and other parties. But interestingly, BJP has also in a junior partner. So BJP is saying that Conrad Sangma's party is corrupt, is like, it's very difficult to digest, because you are leveling charges, and what the rumors are going on. I think day before yesterday, Sangma had a meeting with
With
Himanta,
Himanta, yes.
Mr. Himanta Vishwaswarma at a Guwahati hotel. So the news is already there. So that means, in politics, nobody's friend, nobody's
Permanent enemies.
enemies.
That's for
That's
sure.
what, yeah.
All right, you made an interesting point about NPP and how they are the bigger player in Meghalaya.
Hmm.
But what is also very interesting is that in BJP's pitch, many of their rallies started out with a prayer from the pastor.
Yeah,
And how BJP's politics in the Northeast is very different from how the party runs
exactly.
its politics
Right,
elsewhere.
right. So yeah, BJP always tries to project itself as a secular party, when it comes to Northeast. Uh, in Cowbelt region, like we know what is BJP does basically. Maybe because of the polarization, they want to polarize the votes, but they cannot use the same yardstick in Northeast, because Northeast, even if some states are Christian majority, but not in Northeast, it's a multi-ethnic region and it's culturally so divergent and it's so different from rest of the country. Uh, if we you cannot play the so-called Hindu card. The Hindu-Muslim binary doesn't work like that, because if you see, as I said, that culturally they are different in the sense, when it comes to food and other things. No, it's very different from rest of the north, country. So you cannot have any kind of restriction on food or any other things. So the moment you put this kind of curbs ban, people will start seeing you as something alien. So first thing what you have to do is that you try to identify as yourself as a indigenous, or if not indigenous, at least try to project yourself as a secular, quote and unquote secular. So BJP is all trying to do that. uh, Except Assam, I think Assam also, it's very muted. They don't say it loud. But in rest of the states, like Mizoram, Nagaland, Meghalaya, these are Christian majority states. So you cannot have any kind of restriction on beef or whatever it is. So
Yes, in fact, there was a very good example with the interview of the Meghalaya BJP president saying that I am a beef eater
yeah,
and there is absolutely nobody who objects to that within my party.
exactly,
So that's exactly the kind of
true.
duality, if it were,
Yeah,
how the BJP projects a very different image
different
in the
image. Yeah,
Northeast.
yeah.
But I also want to talk a little bit about the importance of regional players,
Mm,
because BJP, where it comes and it gains ground,
mm,
often it is, of course, it is at the cost of the Congress, but
mm,
very often, as it moves ahead,
mm.
regional parties are not left unimpacted.
Right, right. Yeah, it's always been like that. BJP's expansion in Northeast is always on the piggyback with regional parties. In Assam, way back in during I think Bajpayee era also, BJP, Assam have AGP supported NDA government. So support in Assam there is always been an AGP alliance, like Assam Gana Parishad, which is the prime regional party. Assam Gana Parishad is a party which is born out of Assam movement. So it has all the elements of support. But the thing is that once it started, losing ground and started losing support, and when Congress, because Congress, after AGP, the next 15 years was Congress rule. Tarun Gogoi was the chief minister. So during this vacuum period, BJP tried to, BJP has a certain base, not BJP exactly, just RSS. RSS has RSS had performed the groundwork. What BJP did is to, try to, expand its base in Assam, and those areas where AGP used to have, stronghold, they tried to, capture those seats, and many AGP leaders switch sides. But it helped ultimately. Finally the master stroke come when the Himanta Biswa Sarma
He switched.
and his entire team
Yeah.
of Congress leaders, switch sides to the BJP.
Right.
So that's how BJP. So in Assam also, BJP is not BJP per se. It's always a khichdi kind of thing, from Congress, from AGP, So
Yes.
there is no hardcore RSS guys who has been BJP's forefront in there. They're all from other parties. So this is how the BJP is. So obviously there you cannot have this BJP's core ideology of, like, they might show it, but the composition of the party itself, it's a rainbow party,
Yes.
sense.
Yeah, at least in the Northeast, that's certainly
Yeah.
the case for it. What about the TMC?
Hmm.
Because the TMC eventually built itself in Meghalaya
Hmm.
by taking away MLAs from the Congress.
Right.
What about the TMC, and where do you see the Congress and left alliance? Because it is an unlikely alliance because of the
Yeah.
way and the history. that they've had. So on these two things, what are your views on these?
See, TMC basically, the two states where TMC has tried to expand their, made their presence felt. One is Tripura and second is Meghalaya. So in Meghalaya, uh, the turning point for TMC was not a player at all in Meghalaya until last election. From this election, I think they have made an electoral debut, but it was because of this, split in Congress, which happened 2 years back. 12 Congress MLA, including Chief Minister, ex-Chief Minister Mukul Sangma, joined Trinamool. That's when the Trinamool become the main opposition party, and that was the factor which propelled Trinamool, that must have propelled Mamata Banerjee to try her luck in Meghalaya. But again, that what the ruling party and NPP did, they tried to give a projection. Not it will be wrong to say an NPP, but there was a perception in Meghalaya that Trinamool is an outsider party. So this kind of rumors or impression or perception, whatever you say, uh, it was there. So obviously, so Trinamool, despite the fact that Mukul Sangma is the chief ministerial face or the CM face there, but it will really be difficult for them to dramatically, increase seats, increase the numbers, because even if they have got 12 MLAs, there will be also challenge from other parties. There are smaller parties there, and Congress still has some presence. I'm sure 5, 6, 7 seats. They will, some this there will be some kind of gain from Congress, although not the same kind of because Meghalaya used to be a Congress rule state for a long time, and Congress has declined because of this decline. These other parties like new players like BJP and TMC is on the
Have come
scene,
in.
and BJP last time won only 2 seats, and I'm sure this time their tally is going to
Go up a
go
little
up
bit,
little.
yes.
So yeah, TMC, they have tried to expand beyond West Bengal, but it's really hard to see if they will be successful in Northeast per se. In Tripura also, I don't think they will be able to make any difference, in the sense that maybe couple of seats here and there, but not sure TMC is any player per se. Uh, Similarly in Meghalaya, yeah, TMC, it will not make much of a difference.
Okay. One of the things that people often talk about in elections is what are you doing on the perception front? Now, I remember one of Amit Shah's rallies,
Hmm.
he actually talked about the Prime Minister coming to northeastern states more than 50 times since he was elected.
Hmm.
Uh, so, their projection and their perception of how much focus the BJP,
Hmm.
right from the top leadership,
Hmm.
has, it was always there in the messaging.
Hmm.
On the other hand, we did not see any rallies by the top leadership of the Congress
Right.
in Tripura at all.
No.
Rahul Gandhi only addressed one in Meghalaya.
Exactly.
So then, where's the hope for the Congress,
Hmm.
and what are the takeaways for the Congress? Because yes, Mallikarjun Kharge did address some rallies, but that was about it.
Yeah, I think Kharge and Rahul Gandhi are the two persons who represented during this campaign. Kharge campaign in Nagaland and Mr. Rahul Gandhi campaign in Meghalaya. That's the two Congress top guns who campaigned. Apart from that, Tripura, where Congress is in alliance, they didn't send anybody. It's really strange to how a party can have this kind of attitude towards a region which is to be their stronghold. That was their Congress. Northeast used to was known as a Congress citadel. Now they have totally forgotten. So and the kind of infighting going on in state units of Congress is another factor which which basically dented their image. And over the year, Congress has weakened. Congress is totally weakened. We know what's happening in this at the center, at central level in the Congress party. But in state units also, like Northeast is a gone case. They can't recover the lost ground, and they have whatever they have lost. The new parties, new players will emerge, I'm sure. uh, that's how it is. It's a very they have sent a negative signal. Voters are not at all happy what Congress did to this thing. they may not express it, but that's what people used, kind of signal people are getting, that Congress didn't give importance to Northeast at all.
Right. So where would you put the left? Because the left decided to ally with the Congress in Tripura.
Left is like, Indian left is always a confused kind of, always in a state of confusion. uh, then, Congress and left are the, enemies, rivals in Tripura. Now they have allied to, stop BJP's,
Rise.
rise. So the thing is that it might cut into some certain, votes, but I don't know how much it will help, because again, the main expector in Tripura is the Tripura Motha. So we have to see what kind of, how much seats actually Tripura Motha managed to gain. Even if, even though BJP seems to be leading,
Mhm.
it will be interesting to see what will be the role of Tipra Motha then, which, because that's where the politics lies,
Yes, right. Also
because
because BJP had reached out to Pradyot Kishore, tried for an alliance, but on the question of
yeah,
Greater Tipra land, that's where they decided it's not working out.
yeah. Again, we have to see the results. Everything is determined by the results, because see, BJP per se, they cannot commit anything on separate state at this juncture, because this separate state issue, specifically in Northeast, is very sensitive. In Assam, we have a situation of Bodoland. Now, Bodos have been given, autonomy, uh, which we can say the greater autonomy. They have a proper, administrative setup with, separate council, and it's a very well-oiled machinery, and it runs smoothly in the sense it's been going on. So the moment you give a separate state to any other, in any other state, if you even say the word, it will have ripple effects in other states.
Absolutely.
And Bodos will definitely going to raise this issue. Why not us? Because they are the ones they, they are the ones who led this movement in the Northeast first. In a sense, what we call the democratically. Although there were insurgencies in Bodoland, but Bodos were the first with whom government negotiated and settled this issue of Bodoland. The Bodo ceasefire pact was happened um, 2 years back,
Mm.
and then uh, this entire problem was, somehow tackled. So Bodos will object to that. Then there are other factions in Karbi Anglong is there, Dimasas are there in Assam. Then again you have this Eastern Nagaland issue is there
Yes.
in Meghalaya, sorry, Nagaland.
Mm.
Then so they can't commit anything on separate state. But yes, greater autonomy, this which is possible. Now the thing is that what do you mean by greater autonomy? When all the tribal councils are under, constitutionally given mandate, so they have, anyhow they get a lot of central funds. But if the BJP means that by greater autonomy they will give more funds to them in addition to whatever already is given, then maybe things might, come to some kind of settlement.
Agreement. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now we have to wait and see if Pradyut will, agree to that demand, that okay, forget about this separate, because separate state is very impossible thing at this juncture. Tripura is already a small state. If you divide it, although the demands are very genuine, and they're, whatever they have faced the problems, if we see the problems of the indigenous community, it's very genuine. Their rights needs to be protected, their culture needs to be protected, so that, you know from language, from culture, heritage, everything, if government pays attention to all those things, without disturbing what we call the territorial integrity of Tripura, then maybe he will come to some, agreement. But then again we have to wait and see.
Okay. So if we were to ask you to pick one headline from each state,
Hmm.
what would it be for you?
I can have one overall headline.
All
One
right.
overall headline is that BJP is on a firm footing. BJP is on firm footing, and whatever efforts BJP have put over the years, it has paid dividend. And this is one headline. And second headline will be for Nagaland. Obviously, Nagaland gets its first women MLA, rather two women MLAs अभी तक. So this is another. And for Meghalaya, it's too early to say anything, but most likely it will be government where NPP will be in leading position. Most likely, that's how it seems.
All right.
So yeah, this is I think again BJP might, tomorrow's print headlines will have early holy for BJP, or I don't know.
All right. Definitely, BJP seems set on its road that it had talked about in the Northeast, Shunya se Shikhar tak. Thank you so much for watching.